Hello and welcome to Talk Football Podcast with me, your host Hodgie. And once again, I am joined by Derby County fan Adam James. Welcome to the pod.
Hello again, guys. Hello.
He's back. He's back. So this episode is going to be based on listeners' questions. And we have a series of questions from one of our guests, regular guest, Paul. He sent us some questions all the way from New Zealand. So we're going to crack into those. And and what a list of questions it is. Right, so we're going to go with the first one. So it's predictions for the prizes. Liverpool for the quadruple or City for the treble, and our top four predictions. So we'll start with that.
Okay.
So I suppose, do you think Liverpool are capable of winning all the four competitions that they're in? I mean, I think you'd probably have to say yes, because of course they're
the way they're performing at the moment. Yes,
they're on a real charge. You know, They obviously today we're recording this on Saturday evening, and obviously for a short period today they went top. So obviously, you know, Man City won their game. They beat Burnley quite comfortably, so they went back to the top. But City and Liverpool are right there on each other's heels, and of course they've got to play each other. So that's going to be massive in terms of in which way the Premier League swings.
I can't wait for that.
It'd be a great game. And you know, I think the quadruple is such a hard thing to do. I think when you go back to Man United when they did the treble, that was an incredible feat, really. And for an English club to do a quadruple, I mean, it's so
a tough
difficult.
ask.
Yeah, it's so
tough ask.
I don't think they will, and I think I will probably make Liverpool on form favourites to win the Prem.
Got a better goal difference for a start, so they are scoring more.
Yeah.
But personally, I still think Man City will win it. Man City will win the league, and I think they will do the treble.
Maybe.
Personally.
Maybe. We'll see. So I don't know. I don't think either.
It's hit and miss at the moment because we can't really.
Yeah, I think it's a big
doubt either of them.
I think it's a big ask. The Champions League's a big ask, and you know we did it obviously last year, and we could do it again. But
well,
you know, yeah. I mean, they've got
some Chelsea.
Listen, you know, well, let's look at the fixtures. Let's take Champions League. Arguably, you know, it's a toss of a coin, really, to be honest, for the Premier League between the two of them. The big one, which will be whether or not they can win the triple or the quadruple, is going to be the Champions League. That's you know, it's the most difficult competition to win. So let's look at their fixtures coming up for that. So arguably, you would probably say Liverpool have got, you know, they've got Benfica. So first game away. Not that there's no away goal rule anymore anyway. So there's not as much an advantage in terms of, like, historically you would go away and maybe try and nick an away goal and then come back to your stadium. Even if you'd lost the game, you know, even if you'd lost, say, 2-1 on your first leg away, if you'd always got that away goal, you always felt like, you know.
But saying that, they did start off really slow today. That first half was really slow.
Yeah.
And like you say, you got Mane, which has been in and out of his internationals. So he's
tiring.
Salah.
Yeah, obviously both of them actually coming off the back of just playing World Cup qualifiers. Obviously Egypt missed out on the World Cup. Yep. Mane with Senegal obviously got through. Yeah, so obviously they've had the World Cup qualifiers, they've played AFCON. So you wouldn't imagine that, you know, Mane is not there. He's of course at Bayern Munich. I've only had half a can of beer. Right, so listen, you know, both of them have had a real busy season. So I think it may be a dip in form for them too. Not at their complete high usual standards would be.
Oh yeah,
maybe expected. But then, having said that, you know, they've still got Liverpool, still got Jota, and they've still got Diaz, and I think Diaz has settled in incredibly well. And
Jota played well. He played well today.
Yeah.
You can tell Mane and Salah were tired because he substituted Salah for Mane.
Yeah.
So he's trying to save them both.
Give him as much rest as he possibly can.
Energy, yeah.
So looking at that, Benfica are not going to be a pushover. You know, they're in a quarterfinal of the Champions League for a reason. So that's going to be a tough one over 2 legs. That's a real toughie. Now, Man City have got a real tough game on. So I really like Atletico, or Atleti, as like people like to call. I really like the way Simeone. I like the way he sets up a team. They're difficult to beat. They've got brilliant players, obviously going in the forward areas. Yeah,
can be hit and miss though. They can be hit and miss.
Suarez, João Felix is on fire at the moment. And they're solid. They're solid across the middle of the park as well. They're a real difficult team to play in midfield because they've got really, really good midfielders, and they're just as good at the back. They've got really got good players at the back as well. So
overall, the teams look amazing on paper. It's amazing. It's all on performances, isn't it? So they can be hit and miss at times.
And the thing is with City that obviously they got to the final, which is as close as they've come since the money came into the club, was getting to the final against us last year. And I think there's far more pressure on Manchester City than anyone else left in the tournament on a realistic level of saying, bearing in mind how much money they've spent, the owners that they've got, the manager that they've got, the players that they've got, really they should be getting closer to winning the Champions League. So I think that puts an enormous amount of pressure on Pep to do it, because Pep, good member as well. Go back to when Pep was manager of Bayern Munich. He didn't win it with them either.
No, he didn't. No.
So it's a long time if you go back to when he won it with Barcelona. It's a real long time.
Yeah, that is a massive.
Okay, so wow. I know Pep's obviously a phenomenal manager, but I think he's also been a controversial statement. Maybe I do think maybe he's been a relatively fortunate manager. He took over a Barcelona team full of maybe at that current time maybe 6 or 7 of the best players in the world.
Oh, it was a mental team. That was absolute insane team.
You had Messi that was breaking through. You had Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets. I think even when he was there, I think he even still had Eto'o as well. I think
because he was at the end. I think
he was coming towards the end of his time at Barcelona. But I mean, incredible players. Incredible players.
And Iniesta's still playing now. It's still crazy that he's still playing.
So I think there's a bit of pressure on Pep, and I think maybe he will. I wouldn't say he'll see his time whenever he does decide to leave City, that he'll see it as a failure if he doesn't win the Champions League. But I think he's done fantastic
there. He's done fantastic,
without question.
You've got to give him that,
without question.
Absolutely unbelievable.
It's the one thing that's missing off of the Manchester City checklist, isn't it? And it's a big glaring thing.
Anyone's going to want that. They want it as a manager. You're going to want to win.
And they may well end up winning the Premier League. They may well end up winning, the other competitions they're left in. That's to be seen. So that's tough.
Are you going for the treble then? Are you going for the treble?
I don't think either one of them. I don't think either one of them are doing it. No. I think Man City are going to pit Liverpool to the title, in all honesty, thinking about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Liverpool maybe will just have that odd one, very, very odd, strange result against a Southampton or a West Ham, where they'll drop points. May not be a defeat. It could well be a draw. The thing is that when that forward line has an off day, where the goals don't come from midfield for Liverpool.
So you said City for the title, and then you're saying
it's difficult. I think.
Are you saying none of them for win the Champions League?
I know. I don't. No. I think Real Madrid are, albeit
they're at their prime at the moment. They are. They're doing fantastic in the league.
They haven't got the Galacticos now. They've got some good players, and Benzema's been phenomenal. He's. I think Benzema has had to play. For the fact that the last 10 years or so, he has had to play second fiddle to Ronaldo while Ronaldo was at. And he played an amazing second fiddle. What a support act! But it's his time now.
The French beast, as I call him.
It's his time now. I've always rated him. He's an amazing player, and and they, for want of a better word, they're absolutely pissing the Spanish league this year, which will give them massive confidence going into.
Is it 12 points or something? Into it, 12 points clear,
something like that. I think
mental.
I think Sevilla got a game in hand, but can't see beyond them for that. So I think, but equally, having said that, Real Madrid have got my boys Chelsea, and albeit all the trouble that we've been through and are currently still going through with the ownership problems and whatnot.
Madrid all the way.
I know, and shock defeat today rather against Brentford. Thomas Tuchel come out and said, like, no one saw that coming, and I'd have to agree with him. I didn't. I think what it was, we went ahead. It was a phenomenal goal by Rudiger. Brentford equalised, and we just fell apart. I'm hoping that's an isolated result. You can't go into the game against Madrid down on confidence.
Can't win them all though.
No, can you? And obviously, Madrid have got Vinicius Junior flying, Benzema flying, really good young players in the likes of Camavinga, Rodrigo. They're a good outfit. They really are. So and Valverde, great midfielder. So
he's unbelievable.
I think it's Champions League such a difficult one to call. Chelsea could easily go and win it again. I think for me, Champions League, I think it's difficult to look beyond Bayern Munich. I really do. I just think they've got a bit of everything. They can, albeit actually they've been conceding a fair amount of goals recently, but normally I think once it comes to the big games, I think they'll tighten up on that. And of course, Lewandowski up front, Serge Gnabry terrorising people on the midfield, on the flanks and whatnot. And of course, you still got Sane there and that as well. So, and they're pretty solid at the back as well. Obviously, Mani Neuer in goal, Nicolas Sula, solid defender.
He's getting on now, isn't he, Neuer? 35 nearly now?
And Hernandez as well at the back. So
we're safely saying that none of them are winning either.
No, I honestly don't. I don't.
What about the top four then? What we're doing for the top four?
Now this is where it really gets interesting.
This is a tough one for me.
Because this is where, when you look at the Premier League table, it's quite tight. Now, obviously, today's result
tight from 4th to 7th.
Arsenal have got a game in hand on us in 3rd, Chelsea in 3rd, so that gets them to within 2 points of Chelsea. Spurs, I think I think Chelsea are quite comfortably. The gap is quite comfortable. That I think we maybe only need 2 wins. And that was completely secure us, I think, in the top 4. I really do.
So I'm going Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea.
I think United. I think United will fall away.
I can see Wolves pushing in there.
I can't look beyond Arsenal. For the 4th position. I know Paul won't like hearing that, but I struggle to see beyond that.
I can see Wolves pushing in there.
I just don't. I know. I don't think they score enough goals. So I think they maybe have too many draws, and that'll hold them back.
I don't know. Look at United. Only 2 points, two goals behind. But let's look at Wolves. At 2 points.
I know, but I just historically, I just think that they'll drop points.
What about West Ham?
West Ham maybe, but let's have a look at the fixtures. We'll look at those teams in and around that now. So let's look at Arsenal first. So Monday night, they're playing Monday Night Football coming up this Monday on the 4th, and they've got Crystal Palace. Now that's not going to be an easy game.
No,
Palace on their day, Palace could turn anyone over because they've got a real good group of players, and under Vieira they play some really good, attractive football. Sometimes that doesn't always bring results, but when it clicks, and what I think will happen, me personally, I do think that maybe Palace is going to get something out of this game. And my reasoning behind that is I think Arsenal give you a bit of space to play because of the way Arsenal play, and they tend to play a free flowing game.
They like the counters as well, don't they?
Yeah, and
countering, so they'll get caught out on them.
But equally, and I think obviously their fullbacks will push forward. It depends on whether he plays a three at the back. But yeah, if they play a back four or whatever, and you've got Tierney bombing up one side, Tomiyasu bombing up the other side, I think that leaves space in behind that Vieira will know that, and he'll know the way Arteta will set the team up, because obviously there's a Man City connection there. So Vieira knows those particular tactics, and he knows the way.
Yeah, be a good game, that's for sure.
Yeah, he knows the way that Arteta's probably going to set up the team, and he'll think of ways he'll look at exploiting that. And of course, at the moment, you've got Zaha can get him behind. Young Elise, he's been phenomenal. He's kept Eze out of the team. Can't get anywhere near it at the moment.
So you're saying Arsenal then for the fourth position. So you go in Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal.
I do think Arsenal would do it, but
as it stands,
because I'm looking at that. So Palace is a tricky game, and then Arsenal are at home to Brighton. I think on Saturday.
That's easy.
Saturday night, Brighton are in such a poor run of form. They really are. And we've actually got a question coming up from a Brighton fan, so we will cover Brighton shortly. And then they play Southampton, and again, Southampton are dropping like a stone as well. I think they've had like 4 defeats or whatever it is, no wins in 6 or 7.
Yeah, they're not doing great.
So now here's the thing: Wednesday, the 20th of April, Stamford Bridge, Chelsea Arsenal.
Ooh,
big game for both clubs, and then they're Arsenal at home to Man United. And yet again, even though Man United struggled again today,
they seem to be pulling it out at the last minute, aren't they?
Smash that. You just don't know what Man United are going to turn up. They could easily turn up at the Emirates and get a 2-3-0 win, or they could end up getting, the young kids will run rings around Maguire and Lindelof or whoever plays.
That's if Ronaldo plays as well. He might be washing his hair or something, or
he might be sick again.
Ill again, yeah.
Then it's a big game, so he'll be back. Guarantee that.
Yes.
And then they play West Ham. So they play West Ham at
that could be a good one.
Yeah, West Ham at London Stadium, and then it's home again to Leeds, Newcastle away, and then they finish the season at home to Everton. Now, obviously, yawning for
getting tired now.
It is 20-1 in the morning.
Well, yes.
But yeah, then Arsenal finish up with Everton. Everton are fighting for their lives, so that's not going to be an easy game. But they have a points advantage, so they have.
Well, I'm going to say Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and I can. It's going to be a massive one. People probably won't agree, but Wolves. I think Wolves will get in there.
See, the trouble is with that is that Arsenal have got 3 games in hand on Wolves.
Well, yeah, there is that.
So
there is that.
Yeah. West Ham. Yeah, again,
if Arsenal slip up, it only takes teams to slip up.
West Ham, but they do. We know West Ham do play Arsenal, so there's an opportunity to catch points. West Ham. If I was going to go for an outside shot for the top 4, it would be
West Ham.
It'd be West Ham to make a late push.
So I'm going Wolves. You go West Ham
as a thing, but I still do think I still do think Arsenal will get it because they've already got the points in the bag. So and they have games in hand. So there's that. I mean, I'll just have a quick look at Tottenham's fixtures as well. We'll just run through them. So obviously today, Sunday, Super Sunday, they're at home to Newcastle. Do you know what? I know Paul will be looking at that game today and he'd be thinking, just maybe this will be a typical Tottenham performance and Newcastle will come down here and get something out of that. So, and then
I'd like to see Newcastle win though. Sorry, Paul.
Sorry, Paul. and then they're away to Villa, and yet again on their day, Stevie G Villa, albeit they got beat today and they got well beat today, Villa, but on their day.
He's got a good side coming out there.
Yeah, Villa could really give Spurs a game there, particularly at Villa Park as well. And then yet again they play Brighton, so they're playing Brighton at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and then they're away to Brentford. Yet again, as we've seen today on their day, Brentford can be a real handful. Will play some good football. Tony's a real handful up front, so they're going to give them a real good game again there. and then they've got Leicester, and Leicester's had a little bit of an
That's not,
upturn,
yeah,
an upturn in
up
form
and
as
down
well.
they are.
They're a bit up and down, but they could have won that game today against United, really could have. Yeah, and then they play Liverpool at Anfield. Tough games.
That is tough.
If on paper, and then they play, then they're home to Burnley, and then they finish the season against Norwich. So there's 6 points. But
right.
On paper, you would probably say Spurs have probably got a slightly tougher run in than Arsenal.
Yeah, compared to the others, to the others.
So I don't know. So that's that. So we've covered that.
Next one.
So that's. I think we're there or thereabouts on the prizes. Cup competitions on their day, anything can happen. City are playing Liverpool in the cup semi-final. So that immediately ruins one of those two teams' chances of any kind of quadruple or treble anyway. So that straight away that puts that out the bag. So yeah. I quite fancy Chelsea to win the cup anyway. I think after everything that's happened, I just think.
Oh, you would do.
And Paul said it in a text.
Wish Derby would.
Paul said it in a text to me because I jokingly said we could go and win a couple of trophies ourselves this season. And Paul said,
I would like to see him win something.
That would be typical Chelsea. Which you would. All right. So Paul's next question: will Ronaldo be at Manchester United next year? I wish we'd have got Andy on the phone for this one,
Mr. Reed for this one,
or patched him in on this.
I don't think he will be.
I think it really depends on who the next manager is. In all honesty, for me, because
I don't think he's happy with the manager that's currently there.
No, clearly not.
It's a tough one. Depends who's coming in. Because
I mean, if we can tie this in with another question Paul's asked, which is who will be the next manager? So the two clear front runners at the moment seems to be obviously Pochettino and then Ten Hag from Ajax. Apparently, according to reports in the news this week, Ten Hag has had interviews with.
Apparently, it's agreed or something. Yeah, apparently it's agreed.
Well, I wouldn't imagine financially there'd be any issues with either one of them. Man United's not exactly short of a few bob.
I think if Poch comes in, I think he will stay.
I'm not so sure because I'm not so sure Poch will want him. If you can hear a whoop noise, that's
Lexi doesn't like Cristiano Ronaldo, my dog.
Well, let's ask the dog. Will Ronaldo give us a whoop if Ronaldo will stay at Man United? There we go.
There you go.
So Ronaldo's staying at United. That's brilliant. We'll have to get Lexi predicting the World Cup. Let me add Paul the Octopus.
She'll say Saudi Arabia. She will. Or the Octopus. Yeah.
Anyone that'll give her treats.
Just get her to Bart. If Saudi Arabia are going to win the World Cup, Lexi, Bart once. Nah, nothing.
No,
she
nothing.
Don't like,
there you go.
Don't like the World Cup, clearly.
Yeah. Right. So my personal view on it, I think it depends on the manager. I think if Ten Hag comes in, do you know what? It really depends on what.
This is going to be a daft question, but who is he?
Ten Hag.
I've never heard of him.
Ajax manager. He's done brilliant.
I watch for. I don't follow Ajax. They've
done. Relative for the size of their budget and whatnot. They've done relatively well.
But is he going to be another Van Gaal though? Is he going to be another one of him?
No, I don't think he is. He plays an attacking brand of football. For me, with him coming in as manager, I think you have to get rid of Ronaldo. And I say this because Ajax typically sell their best players every year, and then they rely on bringing in one or two
youngsters.
Yeah, but they'll bring in the likes of Tadic, they'll bring in the likes of Haller, but then they'll build around them with a lot of youngsters from academy players or players that they've picked up from smaller clubs in Dutch football. So if you're going to look to say, right, listen, we've got to ship out all the deadwood at United and we need to go in at the ground level, and they have got some decent young players, the likes of Alanga. They have got some good players. They've got some good young players out on loan as well that can come back in. So Ten Hag would be the man for that if you're going to build a project. But This is Man United we're talking about. You know, this is one of the biggest clubs in the world. Are Man United seriously going to think and talk? Will the fans accept this? This is something, obviously, if any Man United fans are listening to this,
I can see them saying Poch. I can see them saying Poch.
Well, Poch probably, if you bring in Poch, then you're looking at spending. And you're looking at possibly Poch wanting maybe a war chest in excess of, 200 million. And they'll say, right, I want this, and this out. And then to pay for that, obviously, you're probably going to have to say, right, well, Ronaldo's wages are going to have to come off the budget. So Ronaldo would be shipped out. He's got a 2-year deal. So, you're talking about saving a lot of money if you don't have him there for that year. And that could pay for maybe 3 or 4 other players' wages that you would bring into the club.
I say, this ties in with where would Ronaldo go, though? This is what this ties into now.
I don't listen.
MLS for me.
I don't think there'd be any shortage or anywhere really of people that would want him, because you're going to make so much money back on merchandise and image rights and stuff, this, that, and the other, that financially, it's not as big an issue with what you.
Ronaldo, if you hear this, come and save Derby. Come to Derby, please. Just Rooney. Can you imagine that though? Can you imagine that?
Well, Rooney and Ronaldo, they can buy
the friends.
They buy Derby. There you go,
friends. They're friends.
Imagine. But no, for me, I don't see Ronaldo staying there next year. I think all the signs are that he'll probably move on. Listen, he came back to United. He didn't come back to United to finish 7th or 8th in the league. He came back to United.
He came to win
some trophies at the end of his season. And yes, there was the romantic side of it, of coming back to United after all this time. But I think that the plan was coming back as this hero, knowing you could still perform, and he still scored a lot of goals this season as well. But coming back and performing, and then putting a trophy in the cabinet as his final hurrah with a club, obviously, that he loves.
When he plays, that is, yeah.
But that hasn't really worked out that well. How much of that you put down to Ronaldo, I don't know. For me, the whole Rangnick experiment for them just hasn't worked out. And I know he's got the option. So at the end of the season, obviously, Rangnick's option is that he would sign a 2-year consultancy agreement where he would kind of like work like a director of football kind of thing. And he would have an input on who comes into the club as the next manager. I know a lot of Man United fans, and they would particularly want Rangnick gone now.
So if it was you, who would you go for, Poch or 10?
Well, I don't want Man United winning trophies for the next sort of 4 or 5 years, or even being competitive or spending a lot of money. So I would say Ten Hag.
No, put rivalries aside. Who would you like to see there?
If I was a Man United fan, and I'm thinking we need to potentially win trophies within the next 2 years, or we're in serious trouble of going a very long time without winning a trophy, you'd probably say Poch.
Yes. I would say Poch personally, based on what you just said as well.
But then listen, having said that,
but somebody unknown that I've never heard of, well, maybe 10.
I mean, obviously, I love watching European football as well. So I'm a bit of an anorak. So this is why I know.
Eredivisie, I've not really watched. I've never watched that really. No, not really a massive fan of it.
When we say Poch in terms of. Maybe Paul might disagree with me a little bit, but what's he done? What's he won?
Hasn't done nothing for PSG.
And all the money in the world there.
They could surprise you though. They could go for somebody completely different, and neither of them.
Well, maybe, but who?
It's Man United at the end of the day. Sometimes they surprise you.
No, I mean, I had a conversation with a Man United fan at work on my break today, and I asked them, why is someone like Brendan Rodgers' name not in the hat?
He could.
This is a guy who, with not a massive amount of money, puts a trophy in Leicester's cabinet. I know historically, some maybe Man United fans, because he managed Liverpool and very nearly won a title with Liverpool. if Steven Gerrard hadn't fallen over and let Demba Ba score. Yeah. So obviously, a few Man United fans maybe wouldn't necessarily be happy with someone coming in who was a previous Liverpool manager. But listen, you got to put sometimes you got to put stuff like that to one side and say, look, we need to play in it. They want Man United fan demand an attacking, yeah, an attacking, attractive style of football. They have the whole.
That's what Leicester do. Leicester do that,
and that's what Rodgers does. As his management manager. I know at the moment a few Leicester fans ain't particularly happy with him with some of the decisions on some of what game management styles. But then you're talking about Leicester, and if you're talking about Leicester and Man United and the kind of players that you
completely different.
Of course. Yeah. So I struggle to think. I know every top club in the world want Thomas Tuchel, and I think what happens within the next few weeks with the Chelsea ownership would decide on whether or not someone like him would be up for grabs. Will Conte stay at Spurs? Yeah. And these are. I think maybe this is why Man United haven't gone ahead and announced an appointment yet. And maybe they're saying, okay, we'll do an appointment. We'll speak to Ten Hag. We'll speak to Poch. We'll have these in there. But let's hold fire and see where we are, because there's no saying that Poch might not. Poch might not get sacked at PSG. He might
not want it.
I know they're being linked. PSG are being linked with getting Zidane in there and whatnot, and because obviously Zidane's history of winning the Champions League with Real Madrid. So there's rumors.
Can you imagine Zidane at United?
Well,
could you imagine
this was floated about before, and then Zidane came out in a French newspaper with a quote saying he's got zero interest in coming to England. So that kind of put that one to bed, I suppose.
There's nobody else floating about, is there?
This is the problem. This is the problem. You can go for an up-and-coming manager.
Leicester go for Rooney.
I think that's way too soon for him. But even someone like a Graham Potter, I know things haven't gone brilliantly at the moment. But yet again, Brighton play good football.
Someone like Brentford's manager as well. That could be a good, because he's a good little manager. He is.
Thomas Frank, yeah,
yeah, he's very good.
But this is the thing. This is Man United, and I think they missed the boat when they didn't go for Conte. I think if you were saying short term, we're going to get a manager in that's going to, has a track record, an absolute solid track record of coming in and doing something and winning trophies. We yet to see if that happens at Spurs, but
it's a tough one because there's all these managers that from all these different.
If I was a manager and I'm looking at United, I'm thinking, what do I go there and do? I look at, and I know we're going a little bit in depth on Man United, but it is a question on Man United. So I think we're within our rights to dig deep into Man United, if you like. So when I'm looking at their squad, and arguably, I don't necessarily think that Maguire is that bad.
No, but they were booing him again today. I don't understand it. Yeah. I don't understand why.
I know he's had.
Yeah, he's underperformed sometimes.
For Manchester United, yes.
Don't boo a player.
But he's not let England down.
No,
so,
yet.
Yeah, I don't understand. Well, yeah. But I suppose there's a problem. But if you carry on hammering someone, you're going to affect their confidence. So that's
going to knock his confidence. Yeah, his confidence is going to be so low. So it's just going to underperform.
I mean, Varane's not really set the world on fire since his transfer. From Real Madrid.
He's probably struggling playing with Maguire.
Well, so arguably,
it could be language barriers. You don't know, do you? It could be anything.
Listen, if you don't know, when you've played football, you don't really need to speak the same language to understand where you need to be on a pitch. If I shout,
slab heads involved.
Listen, if I turn around at you and I say, "Oi, over there," and I'm telling you and I'm showing you, there's been so many foreign.
Yeah, when you got slabhead looking at you, though, it's it's different, isn't it?
I don't listen, and I think they've got an issue at left back. I don't think Shaw.
He's not quite there yet. He was a bit. He was up and down to me.
He's a good player, but I think yet again he's a bit hot and cold. Far better going forward than he is at defending, which is fine. And then of course, you've got a £50 million right back who can't get in the team.
He played Dalot today.
So Dalot seems to be the first choice at the moment. I think defensively, Wan-Bissaka is a very good player, but
I think it's all favouritism at the minute.
Trouble is that
Rangnick's choosing who he wants to choose.
I just think in the modern fullback needs to be able to do both sides of the game, and going forward is not Wan-Bissaka's strength. So what are we saying? And they're going to have to look at replacing De Gea. I know he's still capable of pulling off phenomenal saves, but
do you know how I think they should go for Kasper Schmeichel?
No, they got Henderson. No, he's too old. I mean, he's 35.
Really?
Yeah, way too old.
You're never too old. Look at Buffon.
True. They got Dean Henderson.
Well, yeah, true.
So
true. He's a good little keeper. He is.
Why is he not playing? When
favoritism? I still think it's favoritism. He's choosing who he wants to choose.
Yeah.
Because look at the likes of Lingard. Came back to United from all that amazing spell at West Ham.
Yeah, but I put a lot of the blame on that on Lingard for himself anyway, because you got to want it. You got to really want it. You've got to do stuff in training, and then when you do get games in the cups and that, you've got to give a performance that.
Yeah, but then he was West Ham got picked. He got picked first team.
Yeah,
pretty much every game was performing.
You've come back.
Give him first team football. That's what he wants.
You've come back to United, and when he has been given games, he hasn't done it. Albeit, all right, if it cup games or whatever, he hasn't done it. He hasn't performed nowhere near good enough. Games when he has come on as a sub.
Well, look at Rashford. That's another example.
Yeah, again. This is the thing. I think if I'm looking at that as a manager, I'm thinking there's a lot of work there. That's a lot of.
I think it's all morale. I think it's all morale. It's got to be. The morale must be that low.
But you don't fix that,
especially with the fallouts for Ronaldo as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem. You don't fix that overnight.
No,
they got Martial out the door. I still think Martial could have done a job for him.
That's crazy. That's mental.
Cavani don't get on the pitch now because he's injured again. But there's issues there. I think the squad is so lopsided. Constant revolving rumors around Pogba all the time. Listen, Pogba, if you want to go, just go.
Yeah, just tell him.
But this happens every time.
This
happens every 18 months. This happens with Pogba, and then two things happen. He threatens. He says, "I want to go. I want to go to Madrid. I want to go to PSG. This, that, and the other." And he ends up getting an improved contract with an extra 70 grand thrown on top a week. I tell you what, he's got a good agent.
Don't like swearing, but greedy bastard.
Yeah, he's got a good agent. That's for sure. So I think there's a lot wrong. There's a lot of issues at United. And if I was either Poch or Ten Hag, pushing the financials aside of like what wages or whatever you would get there, I'd be worried. I'd be really worried about taking that job. I would.
I don't think he will. I don't think it'll be either of them. I think it's going to be somebody that we least expect. Personally,
I think it'll be Ten Hag. I think it.
You reckon?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think they've gone quite a way down the line with him. It's difficult to see him being offered a position at another club of that kind of size or stature at this current time. I think if he gets offered a job, I think it is a very difficult. I don't think you can turn it. If you're Ten Hag at the moment, as amazing as you've done with Ajax, I don't think you're probably in a position to turn it down. I think you probably end up having to go for it. But I would worry. I think there's a lot of work there to be done. Yeah.
Well, we'll leave that one there then.
But that's it. That's Paul's question. So that's sorted.
Did we have a question from somebody on TikTok?
We did, yes, and he's also a follower of on Insta as well. So he's challenged me to pronounce his name correctly, but I'm just going to call him McLaughlin, and I'm going to cheat. So this is the question from McLaughlin. He's a Brighton fan. He's like, the question is, how can Brighton fix the team? We just drew 0-0 with Norwich with 31 shots, and I mean, people talk about Kepa's penalty. Well, Neil Mope's once just broke my back, landed in my garden after breaking my back window. Do you know what? I'm going to put a lot of what's going on at Brighton down to the fact that they've had really, really bad problems at the back. So on whatever occasions you've had Webster out injured, Dunk out injured, they sold Dan Burn to Newcastle, and I really rate Dan Burn. I think he's brilliant.
He's a cracking player.
Listen, there's no coincidence whatsoever that Newcastle, since signing Dan Burn, with his leadership skills and his ability on the pitch, a very underrated defender. There's just no coincidence whatsoever that Newcastle have climbed the table. They've pulled themselves.
I just can't understand how Brighton haven't won that today, because 63% possession,
30 shots.
31 shots and only 4 of them on target.
So if you look at the two main strikers at the moment, that's Neil Maupay, and then more often than not, Welbeck from the bench.
Yeah,
that's not good enough for the Premier League.
They had 478 passes, and only Norwich had 288.
The thing is that this is the problem. They do insane. They do play very good football. They've got very good players in most areas across the pitch. Young Tariq Lamptey, they got for Chelsea, phenomenal young player. But if you
4 shots on target all game though,
if you can't put the ball in the back of the net, you're going to have problems. They're lucky that they already had a really, really decent sort of middle part to the season where they picked up a lot of points, and they got a lot of sort of 1-0 scrappy victories and whatnot, if you like. But they had points in the bag, and they've been very lucky because they could so easily be pulled down into the relegation fight there.
And they played 3-5-2 today.
But that's generally how he plays anyway. He has wing backs, and of course, when they're on the defensive, the wing backs will drop in to make the 5.
He had March and Lamptey, like you say.
I just think, March isn't a left wing back, so I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe Cucurella was out injured today. I'm not so sure. I don't know whether he was in the squad or whatever. I don't know. We'll have a look.
He wasn't. No.
Yeah. So
Cucurella was. Yes, he was at the back playing centre back, right centre back.
He's playing well. There you go. Again, that just highlights the issues, doesn't it?
Here was the team. He had Sanchez in goal, then he had Cucurella at right centre back, then he had Veltman in the middle, and Dunk left centre back.
I'm not so sure. That's not a back three that inspires me with confidence. So. No. If you're, unless
that's showing me leak goals, please, or play poor, and then Pascal Gross in the middle as the holding midfielder.
So he's gone in there. Listen, I know it's Norwich and Norwich are struggling, but they're going in with one holder, and then
it is attacking. But
Trossard, who's probably more effective in a wide area. You got him playing in the middle of the park. McAllister, I like McAllister. He's a good player. But the problem is they can't. I don't know whether he's fully fit or not. I don't understand why Basuma's not in that team today. If he's fully fit,
no,
or even if he's 80%, and you're playing against,
he was on the bench. He was on the bench.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand.
Lallana on the bench. Shane Duffy on the bench.
But this is the problem. They're pretty good in the midfield area, and with a if Dunk and Webster are fit, in with Veltman, it's a pretty solid back three. But you take one or two of those components out of there, then you're always going to be a little bit susceptible to, to leaking a goal here or there. And if you're not scoring at the other end, then there's your problem. So
yeah, but Cucurella, why the hell is he playing centre back?
Well,
he's playing right centre back.
Yeah, but he's playing left centre back. He's playing left centre back because everyone else is injured, and you've sold Dan Burn. So they have no choice.
He was playing right centre back, and then Dunk was playing left centre back.
Not according to my list I'm looking at.
Well, I'm on the Sky Sports, and it was on. That's what it's showing.
Ignore
Sky Sports. You're a mess.
Sky Sports, you shit. Cucurella's left-footed. You can see that. But,
well, that's what I couldn't understand. Look, that's what I could not understand.
He's playing left centre. Yeah, no, ignore that shit. That's a load of rubbish.
Sky Sports, sort your shit out.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
well, I won't use that again.
Listen, there's your issues. If Brighton are gonna, I'll tell you what, Brighton could do a Burnley next year. As good a football as they play, Brighton could easily could go down next year if they don't sort out the goal scoring issues. So, if you're in charge of Brighton, you've got to go and find a goal scorer. Now, goal scorers, goal scorers don't come cheap.
And ones that don't miss penalties.
I like Mopé, but he just doesn't score. For me, he's never going to be a 20 goal a season Premier League striker.
No.
Now, they're not easy to find. They really ain't. So you either adjust the system where you can get your wide players into far more attacking areas in the box, which will maybe go into a back four and playing.
He's going to need service. That's what he's needing.
It's not even service. Is the issue. They create service. They created 32 shots today. What they didn't have is somebody who could put it in the back of the net. And that's
what Welbeck used to. That's what it's a mad one, that is. I still can't believe that.
I'm amazed that Welbeck's even still capable of standing on his own two legs without even getting injured. And don't get me wrong, I like Danny Welbeck, but Danny
wish
Welbeck,
I had legs.
Maybe Danny Welbeck like 8 years ago. But yeah. So they need investment. So in answer to your question, McLaughlin, what do Brighton need to do to fix the team? Well, they need to spend some money. Now,
striker, definitely.
A striker,
goal scorer, as you said.
Perhaps
maybe strengthen that midfield up a little bit.
Well, they're definitely going to need a centre back or two.
Yeah,
as it is, and then I think maybe they need a central midfielder with the ability for crossing. But yeah, I don't know.
That's a tough one because obviously I don't follow Brighton, but I watch them on television.
Yeah. No, I mean I'm very, very.
I would be frustrated. I would be frustrated at that though.
I'm very familiar with them. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think Brighton really need to decide what they're going to be, because. And I think
if they want to stay in that division next season, they are going to.
It's not even so much that. I think Potter needs to decide what he wants to be, because, if he's just going to be, I mean, he's getting a lot of ratings. He has a lot of good things said about him, and he gets tipped with a lot of big jobs. But if you have another season where you're just sat there plodding around in midfield, 8-9 points above a relegation zone, what does that do for his standing, if you like?
Doesn't look good, does it?
No.
Doesn't look good at all.
And so for the Brighton owners, you take a lot of money in every year from the TV rights in the Premier League. So I think you've got to take a bit of a gamble and throw a bit of money at whether that's someone like an Alfredo Morelos from Rangers up, in Scotland.
Oh yeah, good shout.
Someone like that. Take a bit of a punt on someone like that. Someone that's not going to cost you stupid money. Because
what about Ryan Kent? Another shout.
Yeah, for in the wide areas, people. I think that there's bargains to be had out there, and of course, there's players all across Europe that could. Someone like what's his name now? Croatian fella, plays for Real Madrid, never gets a game.
Modric.
No.
I don't know his name. You've completely lost me.
Yeah.
I'm getting it
out because my brain's gone dead. We're going to get it up. I'm going to find it. No, it doesn't. But there are players out there. There are players out there, and it's just whether or not they're going to be willing to go and spend that money. I don't know.
So I don't know Jan about. I really don't.
That's
completely.
Before the end of this pod, I will get it. I guarantee you. I will. It will just click in my brain because I remember I was reading about him in the gossip column. He came up in the gossip column.
Yeah, it's completely lost me out. We had a question for me, didn't we?
From who?
For me, we had a question.
We did. Yeah, and do you know what? It's the first question.
Well, shall we move on to that while we find the Croatian player? I still think you've lost the plot, and there isn't. The only one I know is Modric.
No, he's not. He's old. He's not a striker. I will get the Madrid squad.
Oh, you're not about Rebic or somebody like that, are you? Is it Rebic?
Rebic is at AC Milan.
Oh, Jovic. So you're on about Jovic? Luka Jovic?
Is it Jovic? I'm sure it's.
No, he's Serbian.
My brain's gone mental, mate. I'll tell you.
He's Serbian.
It is Luka Jovic.
I'm sure he's not Croatian.
He's not Croatian.
He's Serbian.
All right, listen. No matter where he's from, he can't get a game at Real Madrid. He's only young. He's only like 23, 24. So,
someone like him, on loan even.
Chuck 15, 20 million quid at him and get him in the Premier League. That's what I say. There you go, Brighton. That solves your problem. Job done. Not a problem.
Yeah. Hodges,
listen.
Someone help Hodges' brain, please.
Yeah, give me $100,000 a year. I'll come and be your manager.
I think that beats my Peru one.
Look, we're losing the. Listen, this is the problem when I've had half a can of beer and we're recording a podcast at 1:10
10 past 1 in the morning. Yeah.
After I've been I was at work at. I got up this morning. People, I got up this morning at just before 5 a.m. So you're gonna have to forgive me for the odd faux pas.
Yes, right. What was that question for me? I'd like to know because I'm intrigued.
Well, the question was from a David Granger, and it's our first question via the email. And of course, you can email the show at talkfootballpdc@gmail.com. So join David in sending these questions in. So the question is to Mr. James, our Derby County fan.
Yes.
There we go.
Be nice.
Right. Well, I don't think you're really going to like it.
Okay.
It's a touchy subject, really. But I did see an article myself this week on BBC Sport about it as well. So the question from Mr. Granger is, will Rooney stay or go at the end of the season? Simple as that.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, again, and it's very similar to the Chelsea situation. Everything depends on.
It's this takeover. This is what he's waiting for. He came out saying that he's in the dark.
Yeah,
he's in the dark just as much as the players, the staff, everyone is in the dark. They don't know nothing about what's going on with the takeover. All they know is that his preferred bid is there. Whether he stays or go, he said he won't. He said he'll see the season out.
I think he's done such an amazing job. There won't be any shortage of takers.
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't blame him if he goes personally.
Whether that's another.
I respect him massively for what he has done at the moment with Derby, and the passion he's had is insane.
Yeah,
the passion he's had is mental, and it gets me emotional that a manager like that came in, has gone through all this mess, and he's still smiling, still boosting his players.
He came as a player. Let's not forget that a player who then.
Oh yes, he did.
Who then did his. Basically he kicked off his coaching career at Derby. Doing his.
Yeah, with Cocu, wasn't he? Yeah.
And was working with a lot of the kids. I think this is where the emotional side of things with Rooney really ties in, because obviously when he was doing his coaching badges and doing that side of stuff, and doing the coaching with Derby when he first came in as player coach, he would have been working with a lot of young players. Now it's them young players that are now in the team working. Oh yeah,
Ebewewe, for instance, young little player, came from Arsenal.
Yeah.
And he's working his socks off. And
obviously, there's a bond. There's a bond between Rooney and this group of players. Yeah. And no matter what happens, whether they end up going down to League One, no matter what happens, from what Derby have done, and particularly Rooney and particularly this group of players this season, is nothing short of phenomenal. Starting on minus 21 points to be even within a shout.
We would be in playoffs now. We would be in the playoffs.
Yeah, you wouldn't be far off.
If 10 points went back on, we would be.
Yeah, you wouldn't be far off.
It gets me emotional talking about it because it's Derby. I've supported them all my life.
Yeah.
And having a manager come in like that I've
I think-
watched play.
But I think Rooney. He's a very ambitious young man. You can you've only got to look at his playing career for that. So I think there's no question that at some point he moves on. Anyway, it's obviously the key.
It's
to
as and when it's when he will. That's it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. I think Rooney will end up being a real top manager because he's got that in him. You got to remember he went to Man United as an 18-year-old kid from Everton and set the world on fire. And having the manager he did for all those years at United, and you can see traits of Ferguson in him.
Yes, and he's going to be the next. He is going to be the next, and I'll say it now. He's going to be the next Guardiola.
I'm not sure.
I think he will be.
I think it's a big shout.
I don't mean winning trophies and stuff. I mean the way he manages.
I do think he will win. I think he will win trophies. So where and what level, yet to be seen. But I probably would think at some point he ends up either back at Everton or Man United as manager. I just think that's maybe too soon for him now because he is.
I can see him going to the MLS or something first. I can because he's got ties over there.
Can
you not?
No, not at all. No. If you've
not even taking over
no
into Miami if Neville goes.
Not a chance. Not a chance in hell. I think he is. He only it's top level European football. Simple as that. Simple as that. There's no way that he takes that step in his career in terms of management. Absolutely no way. It'll be.
So he wouldn't take the likes of like Burnley or anyone like that, you reckon? Or you think it's somebody like low key?
No. Someone like a Burton. Well, I mean, I think the next step for him would be a Premier League club. And
could you see him as an international manager as well? Could you see him the next England manager?
In the future, maybe I don't know.
No, obviously not yet, because he's still starting off, isn't he? But,
let's not kick Gareth out too soon. But
well, no. I think there's other managers before that anyway.
I do think Rooney will end up being a manager of a Premier League team sooner rather than.
I hope he does stay. Just like I say, I hope he does stay. I hope he stays when we're in League One, because I think we are going to go down. It's 100%.
It's tough, and obviously Reading dropped points today, but they've still got a game in hand. So if they don't win that game in hand, then
and Barnsley have.
Oh, listen,
and Peterborough. All the three teams are around us.
Them teams have nothing to do with you now. It's all about just Reading. It really is. Because I don't honestly think. I know those teams are capable of catching Reading.
Well, you've got Barnsley a point above us with a game in hand. Yeah. We have the better goal difference. That's what's going for us.
Which is effectively like an extra point. This is why I say, Reading's your target. Reading's where you're at. That's where.
And they're on 34 now. They are pushing away slowly.
No,
but we'll see.
Their form's so up and down. I mean, Ince came out today and said that he'd like to stay for longer than the end of the season and all that. It's difficult. But yet again, you've got a 20 plus goal advantage. That's worth so much.
Insane, yeah.
That's worth so much. And if you get within, you're only talking 2 fixtures. All right, yeah, you've only got 6 games left, but that's still a lot of points.
It is doable. It's going to be a massive task.
But nevertheless, the most important thing is it's not Rooney. It's not staying in this division. It's the fact that you need owners and you need to come out.
We need a takeover. Yeah,
it's been 6 months. You need to come out of administration. So
and the bloody administrators are getting on my nerves because they're not.
Well,
they're now saying that
they can't announce
they're being undermined.
Yeah. Well, there's this issue. I think Mel Morris is trying to get his foot back in the door and all that, and it's a bit messy, but and it may well end up having to be the football league sort of steps in and maybe even at government level that steps in like with Chelsea and say like this is Mel Morris F off
They might do. The MPs are involved. The MPs and the supporters trust all get involved.
I mean, I've said it all along. Derby's it's too big a club that it goes to the wall completely. Someone will come in and get it.
But what I do is I want to thank David for that question.
Yes,
it is a touchy subject, but I want to thank you for emailing
and
that question in.
Thank you
to
myself,
Paul,
and thank you to McLaughlin for his question on Brighton as well. So that was our little episode on with our questions. That's the second time we've done questions from the listeners, and we do enjoy doing it because we love interacting with our listeners wherever you are in the world. And for me, that's an important thing, and this is why I like doing these ones. But it's important that you guys obviously know how to get in contact with us. So yes, the email's there. I'll say it again, which is talkfootballpdc@gmail.com. Of course, we're on all the social pages, so you can get us on the TikTok, Facebook. I mean, Facebook's brilliant because obviously you can leave messages directly on the wall there, rather than just replying to comments on videos or whatever. That when they go up, you can actually get on that page and interact with other Talk Football listeners in that forum as well. So that's a really good one. And of course, like I say, if you haven't got those socials, then the email's there to use. And one thing we have been looking at doing as well, which would be brilliant if we could do this, is doing a live show. So where we either we stream it on Twitch, albeit that's a gaming platform. It doesn't matter. You
can chat on there. There is just chatting. There is just chatting on there. People do sports channels,
and that's one thing we're looking at doing, which is doing a live podcast. Where we'll have a phone line set up where people can ring in, and you can actually come on and ask.
Yeah, we'd like to get you involved. We want people to get involved. We don't bite. We don't snap. Just get involved
and particularly
contacting the show.
I mean, obviously, Premier League, fans of Premier League clubs are more than welcome. Always anyone's more than welcome. But I love talking to fans outside of the top division, because I think there's a grassroots football and the football pyramid, particularly in England, is such a phenomenal thing. And I watched the second part, albeit it's only like a short 15-minute part, but I watched the second part of the Making Macclesfield with Robbie Savage. And
I'm yet to watch that yet.
It really is a brilliant documentary, especially the first part, because the first part's the full hour. So you get to see. I
still haven't watched the Rooney either.
Yeah, you still. Oh, that's really good as well. It's really good. Probably not good for you to watch it at the moment because there's a lot of Derby content in there. It's probably not good for your mental health.
Sorry, Wayne. Sorry.
But you'll come back to that. But listen, we want people involved with the show. That's why we do what we do. It's why I started this. Is because I love talking about football with people, and this is why Adam's got involved and come on board as well, because obviously he lived in Stoke for a while, and he would go and follow Stoke and that, and his kids obviously still live in Stoke, so there's ties in with a bit of Stoke, but obviously Derby is where he's from. It's his hometown,
born and bred.
And this is it's the same with like Paul. Who would have thought it? Me and Paul, like best of mates, grown up for since our sort of 20s, working together and whatnot, and and he's a Spurs fan. We should hate each other. But But this is what it's all about. This is what we do the podcast for. It's for, and this is why I'm so thankful for the people that have dropped their questions in. And I know it was late notice for tonight's one. I only gave you a couple of hours to get your questions in, so apologies for that. It was a bit of an unplanned idea, and we thought we'd just go for it. And we're really pleased with what we did. So, because obviously Paul's questions were amazing, and they weren't just about his own club in Spurs. So, yeah. And to get
that's all you have to do, guys. That's all you have to do is just put even just a little sentence together like that. Yeah, a few questions.
For David to pop up with a Derby question for you, which I think is brilliant. That shows me that we're reaching people out there outside the Premier League and that as well. So that's brilliant. And obviously, young McLaughlin, I really feel for him because he's only young as well. He's only 18 and he's having to put up with a performance like that today.
Yeah, and please let us know where you're from, because then we can say like David from
So
vice
David
versa.
Well, David from Derby. So
David from Derby, yeah.
you know,
Then
David,
at least we
David
know
from
where you
Derby,
are.
McLaughlin from Brighton, and Paul, who's originally from Southwest London, he's now living the life out in New Zealand. So
And Haji from Chelsea, or not Chelsea, is it really? But you know what I mean.
Close. I was
Not far.
born in Wandsworth, so it's a stone's throw. So yeah, but there we go. Then listen, we'll be back with another episode. I'm already in the process of editing the World Cup review episode that we've recently just recorded, so that hopefully should be up within by Sunday afternoon even. Yeah. That should be,
unless you're asleep.
But I can guarantee you by the following Sunday, which is the 10th or 11th.
Yes,
10th. Something like that. Anyway, I can guarantee you there'll be a minimum of 2 new episodes for you guys to listen to. So that's that, yeah. And we shall see you on the next one. So yet again, from me, your host Hodgie, and
from me, Adam,
and from Adam, our resident Derby County fan.
I am very tired. It's 1:24 in the morning.
1:24 in the morning. So we're going to
very tired.
We wish all of you a very happy upcoming Easter holidays with your family and friends. Don't eat too much chocolate, and get in contact with the show. And and hopefully let's hope for whatever clubs you support that you get some good results over the Easter period.
And send me some Easter eggs.
No, he doesn't.
I like chocolate.
He's chubby enough as it is. Trust me. I can see him.
Rude.
Anyway, thank you very much from everyone here involved with the Talk Football Pod, and we'll see you on the next episode.